I did get this Ghostface shirt, which I think is pretty cool. Look at this. Oh, that's so neat, hey? What is up, Scream Team? Zach Cherry here. Very different kind of video for you today because the Scream 5 trailer is finally upon us. And I was laying in bed at 7 o'clock this morning when this thing dropped, and I had not slept at all, so I didn't want to watch it then because I knew that I was going to be tired as fuck. And also, I wanted to wait until I was in front of the camera again so I could watch it and then give you guys my first impressions and thoughts. If you've been subscribed to me for a while, Scream 5 was kind of where my channel started. I was one of the first people on YouTube to really report on Scream 5 and talk about Scream 5 news, speculate about what we might see, and I got to a point where I kind of dropped off of that for two reasons. The first was that I didn't want to be pigeonholed into this one specific niche of just Scream 5 because, you know, my fear still is that the movie would come and go and all of my content would be based on this one movie that is now released, so I would kind of become irrelevant after that. And the second reason, and more importantly, is that I didn't want to contribute to this movie potentially getting spoiled. If you've watched the Scream franchise since the beginning, you know that Scream 2, 3, and 4 were all plagued by various different production issues. Scream 2 had the whole entire script leaked very early on. And now in this day and age where social media is everything, you can imagine that it's even more difficult to avoid spoilers online. And I didn't want to contribute to that. I wanted to personally go into this movie and have this experience that, you know, I'd never seen this before. I didn't know anything about it going in, and I wanted to have the purest reaction to it. That's kind of led to my trepidation about watching this trailer. We've all seen the Halloween Kills trailers at this point, and I feel like I've seen the entire thing. My fear is that yes, this trailer for Scream 5 is going to spoil things for me, but at the same time, I do feel indebted to my following, that this is something that they've been waiting for me to cover. And in a way, I do want to cover it myself. This is a really exciting time. It's not very often that a new Scream movie comes out. I didn't think that we were ever going to get a Scream 5. I really felt that at the end of Scream 4, that was it. It did not seem like there was a lot of enthusiasm amongst any of the people involved that it would ever come back. And then with Wes Craven passing away a few years later, it really solidified the end of that franchise for me. So this is like a new lease on life for the Scream franchise, and I'm very excited about it. And since I'm just rambling on, I'm going to just watch this. I'm not going to react to it because I'm not a react channel. I don't vibe with that. Nobody wants to watch me react to something because I'm very expressionless. When I view things, I'm very much internalized during the entire process. So that would just be a very boring video to watch if I reacted to this. Not only that, I'm not about like talking and being very emphatic during any sort of viewing of a movie or a trailer because my focus is on the trailer. And when there's all this noise and shit going on, I don't know what's going on. All right, I'm gonna watch this and I'm gonna tell you what I think. Okay. I've watched it. I'll actually tell you my reaction just physically to this. I had goosebumps, for one. I had a huge grin on my face the entire time. That's another thing. But, you know, you didn't need to see that. I'm just gonna get the elephant in the room out of the way first. It does seem like there are a lot of spoilers, again, in this trailer, which I didn't really want to see. However, there is a line where Dewey says, there's been 3 attacks. So that's a very specific word he used. He didn't say there's been 3 murders. So I'm kind of thinking, and this is something that I had speculated about before, that there isn't going to be an opening kill per se, like in the tradition of the opening kills. There will be an opening scene which looks like it's going to have an attack, depending on, what they're framing as being the opening scene in this movie, because it's a trailer, things could be mixed around for sure. But just based on the synopsis that we got late last year, or late 2 years ago, can't even keep track of time, where they said that a woman returns to her town following an attack. So I'm willing to bet that there isn't an opening scene murder. I think that's kind of going to be the switch up here, which seems like a natural progression. That is kind of a twist in a way, since if you think about all of the openings for Screams 1 to 4 so far, there hasn't really been an exact recreation of the Drew Barrymore kill. I think the closest thing we got was probably Sarah Michelle Gellar in Scream 2, which was not an opening scene, but I'd say that the closest was maybe Cotton Weary in Scream 3, but again, the twist in that is that he was a major returning character. So it's always been something new for the opening of every movie, and I think that that's going to be the switch up here, is that there's not going to be an actual kill. If there is a kill, it might be like the Steve character, or the Phil, or the Christine, Marnie, whoever is the secondary character, if there is one. But I don't want to speculate too much on what's going to happen here. It does seem like there were a lot of the characters, it's not a huge cast, and we did see a lot of them getting chased or attacked by Ghostface, but again, that doesn't rule out anybody as a victim or the killer or attacker in this case. I don't want to go, and I don't want to watch the trailer again. I'm good. I don't want to sit through it and overanalyze and go shot by shot, because that's when things are going to start to get spoiled for me, when I notice wardrobe changes and shit like that. The returning characters. The first thing I noticed with Sidney, by the way, who's Neve Campbell, just so badass in this role. I love seeing her. I'm really excited this time around. I hope that they fix the mistakes that were made in Scream 4, and actually feature these characters very prominently. I want to see them involved with the story, and even if they're in just sort of a mentorship capacity, I still want to feel like I'm watching Sidney's story, which I didn't really get with Scream 4. But one thing that I've talked about before in videos is that Sidney did not have a cell phone in Scream 4. And I thought that was a very clever decision to make, because she was just so sick of being harassed by killers that she just got rid of having a cell phone altogether, so they couldn't track her down. Because if you watch in Scream 4, the 2 times that she picks up the phone is either Olivia's phone when she finds her body in her bedroom, or the Roberts residence when she picks up the phone. So we see that she has a phone this time around. So I like to think that that's part of her healing process. She's finally integrating back into society and having a cell phone. I love seeing all of the interactions between those 3 characters. That was another thing that was missing from Scream 4, is that I didn't really feel that, we had the characters, we had Sidney, Gale, and Dewey, but they were all separate. They were all broken apart throughout that movie. So here it seems like they're all together. And I like that. I want to see more of that. When you have a long-running series like this and characters who have come back for every movie, you allow them to interact and grow together. You don't want to separate them. I also like that we do see Judy Hicks, Marley Shelton, in it. I'm glad that they didn't really give her a lot of trailer time, just because it's very peculiar that a character would return who's not one of the big 3 at this point in the franchise. So I feel like, there might be something up with her. Not to say that she's the killer, but I'd rather leave that to find out in the theater. The new cast, we don't really get a whole lot about them. I feel like the only one that we're really given any sort of insight into is the Melissa Barrera character, who I'm guessing she's going to be the main character in this. She's the one that was mentioned in the synopsis that was released 2 years ago. So, I don't know. I don't really, I'm kind of glad that they didn't really focus on those characters all that much. I'd rather wait until I go to the movie and watch them for the first time there and get to know them. I don't need to see them in the trailer. One aspect that I really appreciate about this movie, and I've seen it in the promotional material in the past few days leading up to it when they released the poster, and the tagline for the movie is, and I'm sorry if I'm misquoting it because I don't have it in front of me, it's always somebody that you know. It's always somebody that you know. That's what it is, right? Okay. This makes me think that this is going to be more of a whodunit than a slasher. I'm sure it's still going to be a slasher. People are going to get killed in very gruesome ways, but the primary focus is going to be on figuring out who the killer is. And that was something that was also very absent in not only Scream 4, but in Scream 3 as well. It was always more about the Scooby-Doo-ness of it all in Scream 3, or just like, we're hunting down a killer, but there was never any discussion or theorizing or real like digging into who could the possible suspects be. It was just kind of like following leads that never really went anywhere, because that's kind of been Gale's story for the entire franchise. Like Gale has never solved any Woodsboro murders or any other murders. She's just happened to fall into them. We've never had a character in this franchise discover who the killer was before the killer was revealed, because if we did have that, then they would likely get killed before they could tell anyone. And that's something I actually want to see in this movie. I'd like to see a character figure it out and then get killed. Scream 4, like all of the characters, like the younger generation, it was obviously one of them, but at no point in the movie did anyone sort of point fingers at each other. At least in the kind of way that they did in the first two Scream movies. So this one definitely feels like it could be anyone. I feel that the trailer is very misleading. There are things that were shown here, even though it appears that people are getting killed, I am willing to bet that it's not the case. I have very high hopes for this. This looks really exciting. And it looks dark too. That's another thing. I don't see a lot of that humor in it that sort of plagued the last two movies. Of course, I could be wrong. It could be different when it comes to the screen. But I feel like Radio Silence really has a good grasp about what the fans like in this franchise, and they're going to deliver that. So, do I have anything else to say about this? I'm not going to watch any other trailers when they release the second or third. I'm good. I didn't even need to see this one. My ticket was already purchased when I found out that this movie was being made. So I didn't need to watch this one. I'm glad I did. I'm glad that we did this. And yeah, tell me your thoughts down below. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications, all that jazz. And yeah, I'll be right back.